How the heck are you, everybody? I am Fastidious. Welcome to my channel. We are doing a guide today, and we are getting right into it. Treasures in the Deep, the new Captain Reeve event. It's hard stage 8. This is endgame content. This is legitimately difficult. You can see I just did a practice run. We got our clear. I beat this yesterday, but I wanted to rehearse a little before filming this guide. I'm going to tell you right from the get, because I'm doing H-8, I'm using very good, very meta heroes, and I'm using some of my best gear on my account. We've got good artifacts. I think that for most people, that is what it will take to beat H-8. However, the strategy here is completely pure. I want to give a big shout out to Pink Jesus. I allowed him to backseat me ever so slightly while I did it. I'll also say there's a nice tip I'm going to drop. Shout out to Quaz. I'm actually not going to do it, but if you're having trouble, it's an amazing tip. So I'll point that out when the time comes. It has to do with broke here. But without further ado, let's go right into this. This video is going to be one take. So if I stutter, if I make a mistake, I apologize. I literally have 21 more Gear Raid 4 takeovers to do. There is no time to waste, but I promised you guys this video, and I am a man of my word. So without further ado, let me show you what we're working with here. I also gotta say, the payout on these things, ooh la la, très magnifique. It's fantastic. It's very good. This is the team that we are looking at. You can see H-8. Let's enter the fight. I just did my one practice. How do I show you Power of Dominance is off? It is. Oh, there you go. I disabled Power of Dominance. Let's go in. Very nice squad. So all these guys can be swapped out. Literally every single one of them. If you have them, I would use them or use something similar. But it just means you might not clear H-8. You might do H-7 or H-6 or as high as your account lets you. You know, if you have worse gear, you have worse heroes. But this strategy is very plug and play. You know, you could use Idril instead of Silas. You know, you could use Lunaria as your damage dealer instead of Hex. Or you could have used Virna. Or you could use Amani. You could do a bunch of things. Same with Comet. You could use Iona. You could make all these swaps. You could do all epics, right? You could do, instead of Eloin and Hollow, you could do Midon and Vortex. That totally works. But you just have to plug and play and take it in. You know, use what you have and see how far it takes you. The strategy is there at its whole. You don't need Laurel, so you could bring some other support, another tank if you wanted to cycle in. I just use her as an Invig buffer, and she helps me cycle even faster with Hollow to make the run smooth. But yeah, these are my choices. Again, you don't need Seal 2 at all. You could bring another tank as long as you have enough DPS. Captain Reeve would work really well if you had a decent build on him. Arrogance, any range guy. Absent could work. It's all about what heroes are you going to use. You know, at the end, I can go through a sub for every single one, or you can figure it out yourself with your own comp. Maybe just that's a good start there. And you guys let me know in the comments. But basically, all these like meta guys could be swapped out. It just might limit how far you can push. But I think this strategy should carry anyone with a decent late game account and decent gear, at least to H7, regardless of your heroes. You know, if you're clearing like gear raids 20 plus, for sure it should carry you to 7. And then if you're at 21, I think this strategy will get you there, no question. You know, maybe you have to bring Setrum instead of a Comet or something, right? Or you know, you put Virna in this spot for Hex, things like that. I'll say Silas is an absolute god for this fight. Elwin's great. I love Brokier for the way I'm using him. Zila 2 for the way I'm using her. This is my strat. I know other people have made strats, so go check it out. That is enough blowing smoke. I just wanted to give you the lay of the land. Yeah, we got Anthony in chat. I'm live on Twitch now saying he used Elder, Regulus, and Olog for the middle beautifully. So for me, I'm using Abomination, Brokier, and Zila 2. I did want to make a point to use Abomination since he is so free to play and he does crazy work here. I'll point it out as we go. But enough of me talking. Let's get to me doing. Let's get in. I will show all the builds very quickly at the end. This is how we start off, and hopefully we just nail this on our first try. I just did my first practice try. Well, actually my second. My first one I nailed, but then I realized towards the end Power of Dominance was off. But as soon as I turned it off, first try we got it. So let's go. Comet facing left. You can place him nice and early. Sure, he'll take damage by being on these Seeing Eye squares, but it's not such a bad thing for him to take damage. No one else is going to deal him damage, and this allows Hollow to heal him up and allow him to generate rage from her A1. Every time she heals someone, they get 1% of their rage cap. So that's pretty good. Let's start on 2x. We're pretty comfy right now. We can wait, we can wait, we can wait. I will also say Hollow is in an Invig set, so she has effectively placed Invig on Comet as well. Invig is amazing. Do not neglect your Gear Raid 2. Let's wait. As soon as Comet's ready, we trigger him and then Hollow. I'm going to wait a second longer. Now we're pretty comfy. I'll place Silas pointing up. I like to trigger him right away because you'll see Comet lasts long enough to kill these fools down here. As soon as Elwin's ready, we can place her facing left. She's going to be able to heal Silas, and now this row as well. So that's pretty important since that's where Brokier is going to be. See, Comet just makes it with that timing to trigger. Let's wait. Fate. 2 exit. All right, as soon as we get 17, let's do Abomination facing this way. You want to get him out nice and early, because if you don't know, Abomination, once he ults twice, he's permanently in that ult state, where, you know, he's doing the charged attacks, he's getting more stuns if you have him A1, and he's got these 2 tiles. And I will say his stuns are really clutch here, so A1 Abomination is a good thing. You fuse 1 copy, you pull 1 copy, it ain't too hard. As soon as these guys are there, we can trigger Silas. I could have even triggered him slightly earlier, but no harm, no foul. It actually might make it a little easier that I waited, but I like to do things just as they come up so you don't have to think as much. Throw some 1x. As soon as Zeal 2 is ready, we can place her in the middle, pointing up. My Zeal 2, as of yesterday, is now A4, which is crazy, but this totally would work with Zeal 2 at A0. You don't need those extra 10 seconds, but boy, is it fun. She's ready. As soon as these guys start getting close, or rather we can just time it. Let's say when this guy starts coming down, we can trigger Zeal 2. Could wait a little bit longer, I guess, if you don't have her A3, obviously. As soon as we got this, now we can place Hex pointing down. He's going to kill these little jerks that come from the right and deal the crazy blast AoE, and that's where we're going to get to Quaz's tip in just a second. As soon as Comet has these guys in range, let's trigger him. So now between Comet and Zeal 2, we should handle this quite nicely. I will already place the Wood Elf, because why not? We'll just pick her up for a little cost. It can't hurt. And now I'm going to do something interesting where I use Laurel, but not for any real Laurel reason, but just because she's an Invig, and now she's placed Invig on Zeal 2. Make my life a little easier. Let's pick her up. It will help Elwyn, so we can heal. Why not? We're not going to be in dire straits now. We aren't in dire straits now, but we won't be in them anytime soon, so it doesn't matter. Now we can place Lunaria, pointed left. Again, she's an Invig. Remember, it can't land on Comet and Hollow since they already have it, so it goes on Hex. We don't need it, but it makes our life easier. I love Invig, so I'm going to use it. We can pick her up right away. And now we're kind of cooking. We can trigger now with Hollow. We can trigger with Silas. As soon as these guys are about to come up, we can trigger Hex. You can see by the line. And we get ready. And as soon as we can drop Broke here, we will. And we'll drop him here. So this is the Quaz tip. So when this guy hits with the AoE, especially if you're not killing them fast enough, because there will be 3 of them, they hit in a cross, like this. I didn't know it was a cross. I thought it was a whole square, all tiles around him. Because it's a cross, you can actually keep Zeal 2 from taking damage if you put him up 1 tile. The issue then is Zeal 2 is only going to hit these guys up here, and Abomination won't be able to hit those guys up here. Zeal 2 will only do it when she's ulting. So because of that, I choose to do this. My Zeal 2 does die. This run still works, but if you're having that issue and you can't take it out, definitely use the Quaz trick, and shout out to Quaz. Put Broke here up one tile. So you can see Hex is going to completely toast this fool like it's nothing. And now this is the kind of the fight. We're getting comfy. There's going to be a couple swaps that I do to make it nice and smooth. We're going to hold on to the Wood Elf now for when we really need her. Let's let Silas get some hits out to build some rage. We don't need to use Comet yet, but as soon as these guys circle, we will. And I'll hold as well with Hollow. You can see, so I already have perma ult on Abomination, so he's just going to be stunning, charge attacking, doing awesome things. We can trigger Hollow now because we're about to trigger there with Comet. Now we can trigger Elwyn. A little tight there on Silas. Let's delete, and let's delete. Trigger as they come up. So this is a really demanding thing I find skill-wise. I found I cannot keep Elwyn and Elwyn a lot. Elwyn cannot keep Silas alive. I told you there'd be no cuts without a lot of attack speed and a decent healer build. So it's not the easiest thing in the world. We can trigger Hex as we go up. Let's trigger Broke here, so he's going to buff Zeal 2. That's another thing that he helps with. But she needs a lot of speed, and she needs some heal effects, some attack. She needs to have a little tankiness so she doesn't die before she can keep him up. I didn't find it that easy to do. You could bring like Vortex and it would make it easier, but then you lose out on the global rage regen, which I did not want to lose out on. I'm going to focus here, guys. You can see here comes the second guy that Hex is going to toast. That's why we triggered him already. Hex's ult lasting for 35 seconds is a very nice thing. Let's trigger now with Hollow. I'll say this is a great spot for Zeal 2. She's not very tanky, but she's getting healed by Hollow because Elwyn can't reach her, and then I can also use the Wood Elf. Let's actually toss this on 1x just so we can really see everything. There's a lot of chaos that goes on in this stage. Let's trigger Comet now. Let's trigger Elwyn. I'm going to hold the Wood Elf, and you see now we took some big damage to Zeal 2. We can heal up. If Brokier was in a tough spot, I could have put the Wood Elf here, and it could have helped. That's pretty good. We'll just leave it down. We don't need the cost. We can trigger Brokier. Now he's frozen, so he's going to do a buff to his adjacent allies, mostly Zeal 2. Let's trigger Silas as soon as he's ready. And we can pick up Hex now because we've killed all 3. And now we can place Lunaria facing left, because why not? Actually, before we do that, since we have plenty cost, let's just get Hollow ready. So we do a little Laurel trick. Let's go. Let's go. See, Zeal 2, she goes low, she goes high. She just wants to put out a bunch of damage in the middle, and then if everything goes well, we don't need her if and when she's about to die in these next few little bits. So right about 28 kills, I think, is when you know the third guy has died. That's when you can pick up Hex. The reason is because later on we want him pointing left, the way we have Lunaria pointing left, so he can help with the boss and all that nasty stuff. So Zeal 2, dire straits, but she's holding on. Abomination doing some really cool stuff. We definitely need Comet to ult very soon, so I hope he wakes up. Also, I will say, you'll see it when I show the builds, but having a Lunacy Visor on Abomination helps a lot. It helps keep him alive, but it gives him the extra block, which effectively makes him a tank. Now, let's keep an eye on everything now. We really got to get Comet triggered. Here he comes. Thankfully, those guys circle, and Comet just does absolute work. Down goes Zeal 2, but I told you it almost certainly was going to happen. We should be fine because Comet is going to take care of business. Let's get a trigger now with Hollow. You can see Abomination and Comet doing really cool stuff. These guys have heavy armor, so we need magic damage, but Abomination is putting out a ton of burns. Place the Wood Elf there. We can do a little bit here with Brokir to help out Eloin. It's not such a big issue, but you know, just in case. I actually don't know if she's getting hit by anybody. And I will say, these are the last two guys for Silas. So we trigger his ult. As soon as he takes care of them, we can pick him up, because we will need him later to help kill the boss. Not really that we need him, but he's going to make our life much easier. He's making it all go a lot faster. So unfortunately, he didn't pick him off in time. I hope we hold up okay. I think we will, because you see we have 0.8 seconds left on Hex. We pick up Lunaria. We put Hex down. Oh, come on now, buddy. Come on now, buddy. Are you serious? There's a stun. Is it clutch enough? Is it clutch enough? I don't think it is. Alas. All right, like I said, no cuts. We're going to run it back. I'll do much faster this time, less to explain, and I'm not going to cut anything, so there you go. You can see it's a balancing act, and it does suck with Zeal 2 when she dies, but I could have been much quicker on the Hex pickup, and it would have fixed everything, so teachable moment. We'll leave it in, baby. We're doing it live. Here comes Hollow. There goes Silas. Now we wait. As soon as we can do Eloin, we'll do her. Also, Eloin is an Invig. She's giving Invig to Silas. So it ends up like, it looks like it was too early in the end on Comet, but him and Abomination should be able to take care of business. Let's trigger with Silas there. Let's trigger. Yeah, we're good to go. 1x for a second. Let's get Zeal 2 down. Let's go back to 2x. Trigger. Okay, let's get some buffs going. So we got the Invig now on Zeal 2. Let's get Hex down. Let's trigger with Comet. Very nice. Okay, cool. Let's buff Hex with Lunaria. Again, not that it really matters, but also why not? Let's trigger Silas already, because as soon as those guys come into view, he'll toast them. Now we can trigger Hex because we saw that red line. And I'm going to pay a lot more attention to this right corner now, because if I had picked up Hex earlier, the run was a success. So that's going to be the big teachable moment from the first one. We can already get this Wood Elf down, pick him up, got that little heal. Now we can place Broke here. Hex toasted that guy. Let's throw it on 2x again. So we can catch up pretty quick. That was guy number 1. There's guy number 2. Hex basically picks him off instantaneously. Let's trigger. You want to trigger with Hollow right away there, because you want Hex's ult to come back up as soon as possible. See, we're at 21 kills now, so we only need one more of the big bad guys that come from the bottom right. I'll show you right now in the monster manual. Where are they? These jerks, the Priests of Thunder. So as soon as Hex kills that guy, he's up and out. So we can trigger Hex already. He'll have enough time. We trigger Procure. Let's get a little heal there with the Wood Elf. We can leave her down now because cost is an issue. So you see, here comes the last guy. We're focusing on Hex. So if I had done this the first time, we should have been fine. I picked the right card. Destroy that fool. My Hex does have his exclusive, so he's a bit faster on the cards, but don't worry. As long as you don't forget like me, you'll be fine. Pick up, immediately put down Lunaria. Missed an opportunity there actually to do a Laurel cycle, but it really doesn't matter. Would have helped with Hollow, but we'll be okay. Alright, let's wait for these guys to turn the corner, and then I'm going to trigger Comet. Keeping an eye on the left. Zeal 2 taking a beating, but we're unfortunately very used to that with this silly strat that I like to use. Let's trigger Silas now. Let's toast those last priests. All right, trigger Zeal 2 right away. Nice, now we're about caught up, and you can see we're way ahead on Hex from where we were last time because I didn't make my silly mistake. And I know a lot of people, a lot of my guides tend to be pretty manicured, and it's like the perfect run, but sometimes I think it's nice to show failures, especially when, you know, some people are out there saying this is easy content. I don't find this to be easy content. I don't. You know, we took us maybe 25, 30 minutes. It's not like it was so hard, but I have pretty endgame stuff, and that's kind of the situation I was in. Down goes Zeal 2, as expected, but we're in pretty good control. 18 seconds left on Hex. We really want Silas to come back up quick. Don't worry, these guys are going to circle around. Silas still has 2 more guys to take care of on the side. You can see Lunari does help with like her immobilizes. She does put out a little damage, but she's mostly in like this Invig build I usually run on Wrath. Here are the last 2 fools that Silas needs to take care of. Let's trigger. All right, Comet is basically ready. As soon as those guys turn the corner, I don't want to do it too early. Let's wait till they're about to turn the corner. Oh, Hex is ready. Let's pick up. You see how much earlier we are? Before they were already storming down. Now we're kind of in good shape. All right, as soon as they turn, let's go. They're about to turn that corner. Now we can blow it all up. I'm going to hold Hex till we really need him. Silas, can you please pick those guys off, please? Make my life a little easier. Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. You can just trigger Hex now that they're in range. Silas didn't pick off the last one, but it's okay. Let's pick him up. You can see much better control when I actually am on top of it. But yeah, there's a lot of things to manage. Your eyes are really drawn in many directions. You know, it's a proper puzzle. This is why I love this game, right? And I love this kind of like conditional challenge thing, this time gated thing, and it's like, hey, this is the Reeve thing. Can you beat it in time? Blah blah blah. And yeah, I think it's a really nice challenge, and I hope this strategy can help a lot of you. And I really think there's tons of subs, you know, even all epics, right? Like Idril and Brienne could be your marksman, and you could bring Amani, you know, or you could bring Iona, or Greed would be great, right? Later on, you can't do the crowd control stuff, but you know, just for damage, there's a lot of cool things you could get going on. So we're waiting for Silas now. That's when we'll be able to take care of all our business. These slugs, they kind of revitalize the big Vortex boss. I'm not sure if they actually explain explicitly what they do. Let me see. Where are those slugs at? Do they? But yeah, clearly they're healing him up, and he's starting back from square one. Does it actually not tell me? That's actually crazy. It will split into 4. There you go. So it's basically they're his larvae. They attempt to merge. With each successful merge, he becomes increasingly more formidable, which from what I find just makes him the tankiest fool of all time, which is annoying, but it's fine. We can place Lunari here. This guy's got a big range, though. She'll definitely get hit. Might as well place her while we wait for Silas to come back around. Let's trigger Hex slightly early there because we do want to wait for this guy to revive. Can we pick up that larvae? Maybe actually it was good with Hex. Hex, can you get that kill, buddy? That might actually end it. Does it? I don't know. Let's pick up Comet. Maybe he'll just be less formidable since they all didn't make it. Yeah. All right. So basically Silas will completely solo this guy now. We can just trigger everyone, and now it's over between Silas and Hex. It's big Gers in the chat. So yeah, that is going to be my guide. I really hope this helps some people. Like I said, there's really swaps for everyone. Like instead of Element, it could be mid-on, right? You know, even if you're early on, you could use rares. You just won't get that far. But the strategy I do think is strong. There's little special things I brought with the Invig and some Laurel cycling. But at the end of the day, this is what you're looking with. Obviously, the 2 guys on the invisible thing taking care of the sides. They put up the big damage. Some nice stuff from Hex, some nice stuff from Sela 2. Abomination doing some really cool stuff and taking a bunch of damage. He's our main tank for this comp, and I really like him pointing left with those stuns. I think it's really amazing. So that is going to be everything. Let me show you everything really cool. And cool. Actually, we got Litz in the chat right now saying I could have placed Lunaria behind Eloin because his hitbox is so big. The Death Vortex whatever boss. What do they actually call him? He has a very silly name. Give me 1 second. Now I want to know. The Source of Filth. Apparently, I could have put him right here, so that's a great tip from Litz. And then you still would be clipping that box because apparently he's taking up all that space. So that's great to know. Thank you very much, Litz. Let me just work my way down the line. We'll just go faction by faction. So here we got Silas. This is his guild boss gear. Some nice Ageless Wrath. This is like the best build on my account. I love Ageless Wrath on him. There's the stats. I run him in a maxed out Spirit Siphon, and he is max skills. Hex, also max skills. I got his exclusive. You absolutely don't need it. You don't even need Invig on him. He can totally take care of it. He's so powerful. You saw he took care of the bottom right like it was easy. He's in like the second best gear on my account. This is also his guild boss gear. I mean, my Hex is, I'm very happy with my Hex. Some nice stuff. Let's go now to Lunaria. Pretty normal build, no ancients. This is just basically a DPS with a bit of attack speed and making sure it's invig. So this is what normally is on Wrath for my guild boss. Wrath is my Nightmare Lord that I use. I run a Nightmare team now. I used to run Piercer team. Let's go to Esotericist while we're here. So we got Comet. I like him in this Ageless Wrath. Soulbound Arcana would be better, but I figured, you know, this is what I run him in a lot of times, so let me just show you. It's still very good gear. Don't take it the wrong way. There are the stats. You can see I'm always just trying to, you know, with where I'm at, get a nice sizable amount of attack speed, so we have a nice interval, you know, get a decent amount of attack, and then always crit capped, always over 300% crit damage. He's in a max out, or actually, no, he's not, so I didn't switch that anyway. So he's in a normal tier of Twilight. You don't need that much. You saw he took care of things pretty comfortably. My Comet also is max skilled. I mean, these are some of my favorite heroes. So here's my Eloin. Her pass is max skilled. Very easily she could be replaced by like Vortex or Midon, no question. But it's nice to have her in big to help Silas, but I mean, Silas never really needs help, but this is like a normal build I keep on her. I will say I tried to get some tankiness, so like over 30k I found pretty good, and she needs to be pretty fast, so like 1.6, 1.5 would be even better. Some heal effect, and you know, really easy to build attack on her. Yeah, so it just will be harder without her. And then shout out to Elysian Epitaph. This works for her, even though her basic attacks are multi-target, they count as single target for some reason with this artifact over here. Moving right along, we got Broke here now. Just tanky, lots of HP, let's say defense. It's nothing too crazy, but a Guardian set is really nice. 8,500, 111k. You saw he was never really in big trouble. I could have done less tankiness and more rage regen, so he was ulting more to help Zealot. That'd be nice. He's in a Bastion Ring. Just one of my better tank builds. Now we got Hollow. She's in her guild boss build, I think. Yeah, really high rage regen, really high attack speed. Doesn't need too much attack. Heal effect is nice. It's really just, she's healing a ton. Having her A1 helps a ton. She is max skilled. All my epics are going to be max skilled. And then she's in a Golden Scarab just to keep the rage regen frickin' flying. She's way past soft cap, but I want her ulting as much as possible. That's how I run her in Guild Boss too. Now Abomination, we got a Glacier set. I even used a crit rate Bangle. We're going for attack bonus here with some HP bonus with some damage stats and attack, and then some tankiness with some DPS. Pretty straightforward Abomination stuff. He's in a max out Lunacy Visor. A base promo Lunacy Visor would work fine too. But I wanted the HP to help him tank. You can see, pretty good build. He's got really high base stats. It makes it pretty easy, but not so much crit damage or anything. He just holds his own. And I will say Awaken 1, charged attacks, which is what's going to happen from his physical attack that can be triggered once in a while. That's going to land stuns, and they're freaking awesome. Awesome. So that's huge. Definitely helps to what I was trying to do here. Laurel, doesn't matter at all. Just in Invig, she's going down. I kept her in my Guild Boss build, but it really doesn't matter. I'm running her in this literally just for stats. If you were to keep her down, definitely put her in like a Nightmare Samsara, the legendary artifact. And finally, Zealot 2, she's in her Guild Boss build as well. Just some Infernal Rage. And then some damage. And you can see she's exactly crit capped, 1.5 second interval, 351 crit damage, 16.2. So yeah, there you have it. I really hope it helps, guys. There's her max out Wailing Skull, by the way, I realize. I do think the bones of the strat are really strong, so I hope you can adapt it. If you have any questions, let me know in the comments. Without further ado, that's going to be it for me. I've been Fastidious. If you like my stuff, like it, comment, subscribe, share it with your mother. Go beat the treasures in the deep. I'll see you next real soon. I'll see you in the next one, and I'll see you real soon.
Fastidious.